We are once more gathered to commemorate the contribution and endurance of our class for May Day. The workers of these isles built our great cities, formed our unique cultures and moulded our history with immeasurable strength, determination and creativity.
They set aside this day to mark their achievements. For us to continue this tradition, we must retain their tenacity, their fighting spirit and advance their legacy of struggle and bravery, for which they earn the right to celebrate this day.
For 2 centuries, our society has been dominated by a capitalist regime that relies on the exploitation of workers. A tiny class of people control practically all property and resources, empowering them to influence our way of life, our conditions and our agency.
Over time, working people have been forced off their common land, forced to live in slums, forced to toil in the factory, the poorhouse, the dockyard, forced to die in the sea or in the trenches, and forced to rot in the streets when age or illness makes us redundant.
Today, we still live under a strain of the ruling class, with nothing but contempt for us all. As we rapidly transform into an impoverished, low-trust society, our political and media elite preoccupy themselves with TV dramas about fictional problems instead of the real issues affecting millions of ordinary people.
Our towns have become derelict and our streets are filled with refuse and vermin, while house prices continue to soar beyond reach. Buying the bare essentials from supermarkets requires a shop assistant to remove the security tag.
Workers are competing with dozens, sometimes hundreds of applicants for entry-level jobs. What money they do manage to earn will be gouged out in the form of rent, inflated food prices and regressive taxes. This comes after decades of hypocrisy about difficult choices in the name of capital's economic interests.
Our people's long-term prospects and security were sabotaged in the name of short-term profits. The city bankers and speculators lobbied successive governments into breaking down the once mighty industrial capacity of Britain in return for an economy increasingly shackled to the whims of finance capital.
The fundamental manufacturing power that built our nation's strength was neutered, zombified and flogged off to a rotation of foreign cartels.
Not content with ruining our own island, our leaders also have pretensions about asserting themselves on the international stage. They pursue armed conflict with Russia, something that has only achieved the deaths of countless innocents.
They arm, fund and actively encourage genocide in Palestine. We must ask ourselves, why is there always money for war?
The tremendous costs of this will be shifted solely onto workers, and as our living standards and social benefits are ransacked, we will be told the same tired cliches we've always been told, time and time again, about learning to do more with less, being realistic and protecting our interests.
At present, we must remind the youth of Britain that we recognise no war but class war. We completely reject our blood being spent by our enemies in defence of the dying order of neoliberal Britain.
This is an existential struggle that will decide the course of our speeches for the rest of our history. For as long as we remain subverted by our enemies, our class will continue to be dragged down into the horrors of war, supply chain breakage, civil unrest and environmental cataclysm.
We will not be putting our rapidly diminishing time and resources into the facade of parliamentary democracy. Instead, we must acknowledge that the deck is cruelly stacked against us, and any attempt at beating the elite on our own turf is not only naive thinking, but dangerous as well.
This message is urgent, but it is not one of doom or gloom. Throughout the history of capitalism, our people have resisted the savage designs of the ruling class. When our livelihoods and conditions are under threat, our class is capable of truly heroic confrontations.
The Luddites in the 18th century formed a nocturnal army to smash the machines of their masters.
The city of Glasgow was very nearly the nucleus of the Workers' Revolution in 1919.
Even as recently as 3 years ago, millions in Britain across all sectors of the economy, from teachers to train drivers, walked out on strike and won the improved wages that the media and the politicians told them were unrealistic and unaffordable.
The mantle now falls on us, the young people of Britain, to continue that struggle. Our resistance must be 1,000 initiatives and campaigns to protect, consolidate and improve our conditions, and further strengthen our people's solidarity and stomach.
Such a rejuvenation will only engender in our people the ability to undermine, challenge and eventually overthrow the capitalist regime and establish working class power in Britain.
That's why this May Day, we fight to starve the warmongers and feed the people. The direct transfer of wealth and power from the working class to the war machine won't be accepted.
We refuse to be pawns in Starmer's Falkland fantasy. Today, we reassert the agency of our class over our future.
Victory to
the working class!
Victory to
the working class!
Victory to
the working class!